I never thought a haircut could turn into the most terrifying experience of my life. But what happened that night still keeps me awake, even years later. Imagine sitting in a quiet hair salon after closing hours, the mirrors reflecting shadows that don't move the way they should, and the sound of scissors stopping. Even though no one touched them, if you've ever felt uneasy sitting in a salon chair, like someone is standing just a little too close behind you, trust me, by the end of this story, you'll understand why. This is something I wish I had walked away from when I had the chance. It was a Tuesday evening, the kind of slow, boring night where nothing interesting ever seems to happen. I had just gotten off work late, and most salons in my area were already closed. I noticed one small place still open, a dimly lit salon tucked between two empty stores. The sign flickered slightly, and for a second I thought about going home instead. But I needed the haircut for a meeting the next morning, so I pushed that feeling aside and walked in. The bell above the door rang softly, and the smell of hairspray and chemicals hit me instantly. The place was almost empty. No customers, no music, just the low hum of fluorescent lights. A woman stood near the back, sweeping hair off the floor. She looked up slowly, almost like she hadn't noticed me come in, even though the bell was loud. She smiled, but something about it felt delayed. Like her face remembered to smile a second too late. She told me I was the last customer of the night and asked me to sit. I remember thinking how quiet everything was. No radio, no TV, not even the sound of traffic outside. As I sat in the chair, the cape wrapped around my neck felt colder than usual. When I looked at the mirror, I saw myself and behind me, rows of empty chairs stretching into the darkness of the salon. She started cutting my hair without saying much. The scissors moved smoothly, but her reflection in the mirror never blinked. I tried to make small talk, asking how long she had worked there. She paused for just a moment before answering, saying she'd been there a very long time. The way she said it sent a chill down my spine. It didn't sound like a normal answer. It sounded heavy. About a minute later, I heard something that made my stomach drop. Another pair of scissors clicked, not hers. I could see her hands clearly in the mirror, but the sound came from behind me, closer to the back of the salon. I turned slightly, but she gently pushed my head forward and told me to stay still. Her voice was calm, almost too calm, like nothing was wrong. Before we go further, if you enjoy real feeling horror stories like this and don't want to miss what happens next, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Nightmare Chronicles. Trust me, the stories here only get darker from this point on, and you won't want to miss them. When I looked back at the mirror, I noticed something new. One of the empty chairs behind me was no longer empty. A dark shape sat there, barely visible, like a shadow that didn't belong. I blinked hard, telling myself it was just my imagination. Late night, tired mind, nothing more. But when I blinked again, the shape was still there. And it was closer. The woman kept cutting, her movement slower now. Hair fell onto the floor, but it didn't sound right. Instead of a soft brushing sound, it landed with a wet, heavy thud. I looked down, but the floor looked normal, clean to clean. My heart started pounding, and I realized the salon felt colder than before, like the heat had been turned off completely. Then she leaned in close to my ear and whispered, "He doesn't like it when people move." I froze. I didn't ask who he was, because deep down, I didn't want to know. The shadow in the mirror stood up from the chair. It was tall, thin, and its reflection looked stretched, like the mirror was trying to reject it. The lights flickered, and for a split second, the reflection showed more than one shadow. There were several now, standing behind me, surrounding the chair. When the light stabilized, the salon looked empty again. But I could feel it, the pressure in the air. Like I was being watched from every direction. I told her I was feeling sick and wanted to leave. She stopped cutting immediately. The scissors didn't make a sound when she set them down. She slowly removed the cape and smiled again, that same delayed smile. She said my haircut wasn't finished, but I insisted. As I stood up, the mirror behind the chair cracked down the center, splitting my reflection in two. That's when I heard footsteps, heavy, slow footsteps coming from the back room. The door back there was slightly open now, even though I was sure it had been closed before. Something tall moved in the darkness, and the smell in the salon changed. It smelled old, like damp walls and rust. I ran for the door. The bell rang again as I burst outside into the night air. I didn't look back. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key into the ignition. When I finally drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror. The salon was dark, completely closed. No lights, no sign. The next day, I passed by that same street in daylight. The salon wasn't there. In its place was an empty, dusty shop with a for lease sign that looked like it had been there for years. I asked a nearby store owner about it, and his face went pale. He told me that salon had burned down over a decade ago. The stylist who worked late hours, she never made it out. Even now, when I sit in a salon chair and hear scissors start cutting, I feel that same cold around my neck. I always check the mirror behind me, and sometimes I swear I see a shadow that doesn't belong. If this story gave you chills, drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever felt watched in a hair salon or experienced something you couldn't explain? Share this video with someone who loves scary stories. And don't forget to subscribe to Nightmare Chronicles for more true feeling horror that stays with you long after the video ends.